So I've only got one thing to ask you, and that is to stop trying to hit all your golf shots dead straight. Now I know that might sound like an odd request, but by the end of today's video, I'm going to show you how that dead straight one, why it's driving you mad, why it's almost impossible to do, and why if you can learn to shape the ball better, it's going to make you a much, much better golfer. Now I know with the opening from that video, you might be panicked slightly because I've just said I'm going to show you why you shouldn't be trying to hit the ball straight. And yet you might have been spending your entire golfing life trying to hit the ball straight. So the first thing we need to understand is why the ball shapes or doesn't shape like it does. And the first thing we need to understand is where the club face points at impact is where the golf ball is going to set off. So if I get my club face to point left of target, the ball will set off left of target, as we can see there, staying down the left. And obviously if the club face was right of target, the ball will set off right. But then the path, the direction the club's moving at impact with the golf ball, relative to that path creates shape. So if my club face was to point at my target and my club would work from the inside or to the right, that would make the ball shape from right to left. And if the club was to work left or out to in, the ball would shape left to right. So when I use TrackMan in my coaching, it's very, very precise on where that club face is pointing relative to the path, relative to the target, and what the path is actually doing through impact. So I am bothered about where it is relative to target, but I'm going to show you face to path, and amount of curve. So I'm going to try and hit a dead straight shot, and I'm going to have 3 goes and see how close I can get it. Comment below whether it's before, during, or after I've hit the shots as to how skilled at this you feel I am. So I'm going to set up nice and straight, try and hit a dead straight one. So it's a little bit thin. Not loads of shape on the golf ball. And we can see the face was 0, path was minus 0.2. And I hardly ever do that. So let's try a couple more and try and get a better strike with it as well. So we can see path, not bad, only 0.4 degrees to the right from the inside. The club face was a little bit open there, but we see 33 feet of curve to the left. Let's go one more. And again, not setting off badly. We see that path minus 0.8 and the club face 1.9 degrees to the right and 18 feet of curve. Now, I know what you're thinking, those are actually fairly straight shots, but you can see the challenge there, can't you, of 18 foot right, 33 foot left. If you're aiming straight at a flag, potentially, depending where the flag is on that green, you could actually start missing the green and actually running up a bit of a score. So my challenge as a coach is most people tell me, first of all, that they do hit the ball straight, and they don't. And they say that they would actually like to hit it straight. And to hit that dead straight one, we have got to be perfect. We've got to get that club face perfectly at the target, 0 to the path, and the path to be 0. So you can imagine how difficult that is, and potentially it brings both sides into play. And I do think because it's such a holy grail, it's almost like chasing insanity. We're never going to do it, and yet golfers really hammer themselves with the fact that they can't do it. So what I'd actually like to do is move away for a little bit from trying to hit the ball straight and say, right, can I, even without something like TrackMan, can I start to understand how I deliver the club consistently? So if I were to make my, I'll say my more traditional golf swing, I'll aim straight at the target, and the ball tends to set off very slightly right of target and shape round to the left. So I would know that my club face is pointing just right of target, but close to my path, and my path's working more out to the right, and the TrackMan numbers there will show that I swung 3.4 degrees from the inside, and my club face was 1.2 degrees closed to the path, but will have still been right of target. But you can see the challenge there, 73 feet of shape. So because I hit the ball a reasonable distance, the ball continues on that shape for a long time. Now, a lot of golfers won't tend to swing like that. They'll tend to swing a little bit more like this. Now, the ball's definitely set off left of target. So I know the club's close to the target, but it's going to be a little bit open to the path. So it's 6.3 degrees open to the path, 12 degrees out to in, and there's that fade. So if you want to initially start to be consistent, you need to start thinking about, right, where do I need to set the ball off for the path I swing on? So if you are somebody that swings out to in, ideally, you're going to have that slightly open club face. Now, you can't afford to aim straight because you need to get the ball to set off left of target. So if you are a fader of the golf ball, you want to aim left of target. You know that you're going to swing a little bit over the top, out to in, however you want to refer to it, but you've got to make sure that that club face is a little bit open at impact. So we're going to set up. And even though the strike's not great there, we can see 10 degrees out to in, that club face 6.5 degrees open, and even though there's 60 feet of shape there, all of a sudden that ball's finishing around the target. Now, this might be very out of your comfort zone, but I'm a big fan of golfers understanding how they deliver the golf club to be more consistent. It might not necessarily be a consistency that you want 2-3 months down the line, but when you go and play golf, it's very, very difficult. Let's say for me, who's somebody who draws the ball or historically has drawn the ball a lot, it's very difficult for me to stand there and say, right, come on, I'm going to try and hit this dead straight. And I make a swing that actually feels very, very good, but the ball curves to the left. My club face is going to be closed. We can see 2.2 degrees and 55 feet left is really going to be very, very punishing. So the first thing you need to practice is something that's quite consistent that you can do. So I'll always say to golfers, I like you to aim straight to begin with, because then you can learn how much the ball's curving. But you might stand there and say, right, for somebody like me who draws the ball, I want to feel that I can hit a bit more of a fade. So all I'm going to focus on here is trying to deliver the club face a little bit more open than normal. So we can see that one definitely set off to the right. My club path has been 1.2 degrees from the inside, and my club face was 3.4 degrees open. And I know it sounds like it's going to be really hard, but club face control, and there's loads of different ways of doing it, that's why I like golfers to experiment a little bit, is if I stood up there and said, right, I feel like I could get fairly close to that again, a bit more exaggerated, so we can see that ball curving out to the right. My path was pretty straight, so only 1 degree out, but the club face was 4.9 degrees open. So all of a sudden, as long as I can start feeling that and grooving that for a bit of practice, I could then say, right, I'm going to aim a little bit further left. Now, because TrackMan's aimed at the target, that's going to show that my path is a little bit more to the left. But as long as my club face is pointing left of target, but slightly open to where I'm aiming, this should curve back to target. So it's set off left. It's not really curving too much. So the path was what I expected. Club face was 2 degrees open, but not quite enough. Now, like I said, in my experience as a coach, once golfers learn about the ball sets off fairly close to where the club face points and what they need to do regarding the path of their club, whether that's down to aiming to create that or actually feeling it in the golf swing, they start to become a much more consistent golfer. And even if it's somebody who then shapes the ball quite a lot, as long as you know the shape's coming, you can aim in the correct place and get the ball, if not absolutely back to target, very, very close. But the biggest frustration I see with golfers is they stand there trying to hit it straight, hitting some left, some right, having no real idea, getting very caught up in, was it the top of my backswing? Was I too fast? Did my arm bend? Did my knee move differently? Start getting a little bit more feedback about what's going on down at impact. So the ball's going to set off close to where the club face points. It's most exaggerated with driver, but strike comes into it with driver. And then the shape of the shot is very much down to the path relative to that club face. But if you're somebody who's going to stand there, and I think even a lot of pros will stand there who are in a nice position of having TrackMan, that they'll be trying to hit that dead straight one, chasing that 0-0. And they can stand there and hit some really good shots. And that one's a very shapeless shot. I've been 1 degree from the inside, 0.7 degrees close to that path, and only 7 feet of curve. But I think if I stood up there, even with the time I've got to spend with great feedback, trying to hit that shot every time, I think I've got left and right as a miss. Whereas if you can shape one way, you should be able to eliminate half of the golf course, enjoy your golf, and you know what? It's actually lovely if you're somebody who's faded or sliced the ball your whole life. If you practice being better with club delivery, if you can stand up there, put that swing on it, get the ball curving from right to left. We can see I've swung the club a little bit more from the inside. Close the club face relative to that path. And if you can stand there hitting lovely little draws, I'm sure everyone you play golf with will want to know what you've done. And when you tell them that you've stopped trying to hit it straight, they just won't believe you. But practice delivering the club, learning about where that ball's setting off because of the club face, and then shaping because of the path you're swinging the club on. And if you can control your delivery, you're going to influence the golf ball better than ever. So guys, hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, like it and share it. Comment below. Let me know if this is something you have worked on. Let me know if it's something you've never even considered. And then if you can stand up and hit more and more good shots, almost tee to green becomes quite easy. And then we can take the emotional bit away and start working a bit more on short game. There's another video just there that hopefully will help with your game. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.